had turned for just a second and he was gone.
Missing was 17-month-old Kennison Nifong, who had been with his mother, Colby, in her garden.
I was just physically ill, because we always had a thing that I'd call his name and he'd, right here, Mama, I'm right here. And he didn't answer back.
After quickly scanning the area, Colby ran to the front of her property in Enterprise, Oregon. There she saw it, Kennison's tiny footprint, leading to a 30-foot drop-off into the creek below.
I just remember just literally screaming out, "Dear Jesus," wherever he's at, please just let him breathe. Please, this is my baby, and I don't want to lose him.
Colby frantically searched the creek, which was icy and swollen from the winter thaw. By now, she had called the sheriff's department. Under-Sheriff Steve Rogers arrived within minutes to take over the search.
I jumped in and I turned to run upstream, and I was told, stop, turn around and look. I can tell you, I've never heard this voice before. So I did. I turned around and looked, and at the bottom of this log, I saw what I thought were fishing lures stuck on the log. And I ran down there, and it was Kennison. So I reached down and I grabbed him by his feet and pulled him up like this so that his head would be down and no water came out of his lungs. I mean, he was obviously deceased.
I just remember hitting the ground and not wanting to get up. You know, this is my fault, and I didn't want to go on with life because if my son was dead.
An off-duty doctor heard about the accident over a scanner and came to help with CPR. Then an ambulance rushed Kennison to the local hospital, where friends had gathered to pray. Meanwhile, medical staff tried to save the toddler's life. Christy Wade was on duty that day.
She had no vital signs whatsoever, no pulse, no blood pressure. Very few people survive a situation like that.
Kennison's father, Ken, arrived soon after.
It was hard, knowing that I wasn't going to be able to take him hunting and fishing, and some of the things that a dad wants to do with their son.
After over 2 hours of CPR, they finally got a heartbeat. Kennison was life-flighted to St. Luke's Boise Medical Center, where he remained on life support. And doctors gave Ken and Colby their devastating report.
Even if he comes out of this, most likely he's gonna not have brain activity. He's not gonna be able to walk, he's not gonna be able to talk. His organs are all shut down. We'll give him 48 hours to see if anything can happen. But we're just letting you know the prognosis is not good.
But there was one doctor who told them there was still hope.
The head doctor said, I believe in miracles. I've seen miracles happen. You guys just need to pray, and you need to get everybody that you know praying. So that's what we did.
Doctors put Kennison into an induced coma. As Colby continued to pray, she says God told her she had to let go of her son.
God said, I need you on your knees, and I want you to lift your hands straight up, and I want you to give me your son. Kennison's always been mine. You just have always clung on way too tight. I remember just having tears streaming down my face because ultimate surrender. But I'm like, okay, God, he's yours. And right then and there, Kennison tried to flip over in his bed because they had him restrained. And that was within 5, 6, 7 seconds of offering him up to God. And boom, he moves.
But the battle wasn't over yet. Doctors were concerned that his brain and liver would swell.
And I just remember literally feeling like we were supposed to specifically pray for every negative they put up, so his brain's supposed to swell. So we put our hands right on his little head and just, dear Jesus, please don't let his brain swell. Please keep his liver from swelling.
As the Nifongs and others pressed harder into their prayers, Kennison's vital signs started improving, and he was moving more often. 3 days after going into the hospital, he was taken off life support and brought out of his coma.
He reached for me and I just picked him up and he just snuggled right into me. And I was like, he's gonna be fine. They did a CAT scan and there was no swelling. And they did the MRIs and everything they said just didn't happen. He had an immediate recovery and was already walking around talking to the little kids around him, pushing them. A lot of people referred to him as their little angel because they truly, they had never seen such a miraculous recovery in such a short time.
Kennison returned home with no complications from the drowning.
About 6 months later, we were back home, walking up our road, and he found a culvert, and he said, "Mama, I went through this." And I said, you remember this? He said, "Yeah, Mama, me call for you, no hear me." And I teared up. I said, "Honey, Mama was looking for you." And "No, Mama, you no hear me, but something was with me." And that was just the end of it. Something was with him, and you can't go from what we went to getting back your son and not call it a miracle.
I am not what you would consider the most spiritual person on the planet, but that day most definitely made a believer out of me.
To this day, people still talk about Kennison Nifong, the boy who died and came back to life. Now he's an active, healthy teenager.
I do basketball, soccer, baseball, wrestling, football, track. When I grow up, I want to go into fish biology.
Every time I see Kennison now that he's, older and a teenager, it's a good feeling. It is amazing.
God is so powerful, he can change anything. We can't give up hope. You just have to believe with all your heart that he's going to give you that miracle.